to conduct this study. Okay, so for the objectives, I was able to determine the levels of knowledge and attitude of Filipino teachers towards DepEd advisory. With this, I was able to learn whether they are aware of the real purpose of the document or not, and how they perceive professional development opportunities that were issued such a document. I have also successfully determined significant differences in their knowledge and attitude when grouped according to their age, sexuality, and educational attainment, as well as learn the significant relationship between the two primary variables, eventually resulting in conclusions on how the teacher's level of knowledge affects their attitude towards the use of the said document. Okay, so for the methodology, I was guided by a descriptive research design, and I have employed a quantitative research approach. I have limited the respondents to primary education teachers from all over the country. So this is a nationwide study. But I selected them randomly. Okay. So primary teachers, since they are connected with or at least under the supervision of the Department of Education, I did exclude senior high school because teachers may be under DepEd or TESDA. We really don't know, right? And I also did not include college instructors because they're under the Commission on Higher Education. So basically, this topic is not their business. Okay? So to determine the number of respondents needed, the original plan was to compute using Slovin's formula. However, I don't have access to the exact number of primary teachers all over the country. So that is a limitation of the study. Nevertheless, because of that, I have settled with having 200. 200 because according to Fox 2022, 100 is believed to be the minimum sample size needed to get reliable results concurred by majority of statisticians. Okay? Now, to interpret the results of the study, frequencies, percentages, mean scores, guided by a 4-point Likert scale, as you can see on this slide, were computed. And then for the significant differences, I have performed t-tests and analysis of variance, also called as ANOVA. While to know significant relationships between knowledge and attitude, I have employed Pearson R. Okay, so let us now proceed with the results. So on this table, it is very clear that the level of knowledge of the teachers towards DepEd advisory is low. This is attributed with the misconceptions that they have towards the issuance of it. As you could all see, they believe that a DepEd advisory is issued to institutions and organizations without the need of applying for it, despite the fact that one needs to submit a request first to the department before it gets issued such advisory. They also think that a DepEd advisory is issued as proof that events and activities, as well as the organizers, are legitimate, which is false, given that the department only issues it for information dissemination purposes only. The teacher respondents also think that if an event or activity has a DepEd advisory, it means that the Department of Education endorses it, even though that is not the case, as stated on the upper part of each advisory being issued by the department. On the other hand, it is also worth noting that they are aware that a DepEd advisory is issued by the Department of Education and not by CHED and TESDA. Nevertheless, if you're going to look at the overall results, it shows that um, teachers teaching in the primary um, education, as far as the respondents of this study are concerned, lack the necessary knowledge towards the document, and this raises concerns about how they evaluate professional development opportunities before deciding to participate in them. All right, so next is the attitude towards deputy advisory. So we can all see that in this slide, the presented data indicates that teachers have a very negative attitude, or should I say, wrong perception towards the use of the said document. They express that they prefer to attend professional development opportunities that have deputy advisories than those that don't have. They also express that learning that a deputy advisory was issued um, for an event gives them the confidence and an impression that it is legitimate, and that an event or activity that has no deputy advisory is more likely to be illegitimate or at least questionable to them. They also said that when they search for professional development opportunities, they only look for those with deputy advisory, and that they perceive events and activities that feature the logo of the Department of Education or a deputy advisory number on their promotional materials to be authorized and supported by the department. Therefore, it establishes an idea in their minds that these events, these activities guarantee valuable professional development opportunity. This result is actually concerning because their wrong perception alongside their poor understanding towards deputy advisory could lead them to fall victim to predatory practices, such as but not limited to predatory research conferences, awarding ceremonies, and publication opportunities that are really prevalent nowadays. Trust me, there are a lot out there. Okay, we just don't realize it because we are reliant on looking at this document as a proof that it is legitimate. And yeah, what makes this concerning is that this could happen without us even realizing it. Okay, so now let us talk about the results of the inferential statistics. So in regards to the teacher's knowledge towards deputy advisory, I have determined that there is a significant difference when grouped based on their sexuality. Data shows that males have a better understanding towards the said document compared to females. Meanwhile, there is no significant difference in their attitude. This indicates that males are less likely to fall victim to predatory practices than females, as they tend to know more about the real purpose of the document used as a promotional tool by organizers, resulting in being more cautious and not totally relying on debit advisories as the basis of an event's legitimacy. Okay, next, on this table, we can see that there is a significant difference in their attitude towards debit advisory when grouped based on age. On the other hand, um, in terms of attitude, data showed that there is no significant difference. Oh, sorry. In terms of knowledge, okay, according to age, there is significant difference. In terms of attitude and age, there is no significant difference. Just for clarification, there's a typographical error there. Okay, so data revealed that 58 years old and above have the highest knowledge level towards debit advisory, while those that are aged between 48 and 57 and 38 to 47 years old have the lowest, which indicates that teachers who are in the middle age are the most reliant on debit advisory as a document to tell whether an event or an activity or whatever professional development opportunity they're looking at is legitimate or not, as well as endorsed by DepEd, making them the most vulnerable to predatory practices. Okay. All right. Next, I have found that there is no significant difference in the knowledge and attitude of teachers when grouped according to their educational attainment. So this means, my dear listeners, that educational attainment cannot be used as an indicator to know how knowledgeable a person is towards the use of DepEd advisory, as well as how they perceive the document in relation to professional development opportunities. Okay, so lastly, as presented on this table, there is a significant relationship between the knowledge and attitude of teachers towards DepEd advisory. The data indicates that their poor understanding towards the purpose of the said document results in a wrong perception on how it should be used in relation to professional development opportunities. Additionally, their lack of knowledge towards it makes them use it the wrong way. For instance, using it as a basis for the legitimacy of an event or as proof that it is endorsed by the Department of Education, even it is not. All right, so let me end my presentation with some major recommendations. So, the major recommendation is for DepEd to provide a clearer guideline and information on the purpose of DepEd, but a clearer guideline and information on the purpose of DepEd advisories to avoid misconceptions among educators. Additionally, I do believe that the Department of Education can conduct more awareness campaigns to help teachers understand the importance of verifying the legitimacy and quality of professional development opportunities before investing in them, especially that most opportunities like this are very, very costly. So we want to avoid, wasting money on predatory ones. Lastly, DepEd can explore more alternative methods of disseminating information to educators. For example, online platforms that they manage themselves to ensure equal access to the latest information on educational opportunities and developments rather than letting the organizations or institutions to have a copy of the DepEd advisory for their event or activity, which put it at risk to be exploited, resulting in misinterpretation, misconception, and eventually many educators falling victims to predatory practices. So this ends my presentation. Again, I would like to thank the organizing committee of this research conference for giving me this opportunity. And also, I would like to commend each and everyone, um, to the members particularly, for your dedication in promoting research on an international scale. Thank you and have a great day, everyone.
Wow, thank you so much, Mr. Mark. Thank you for also giving us important inputs, no, when it comes to the misconception towards DepEd advisory. I just knew some of the informations that you gave based from your study. It's for me personally, it's really important, no, to understood on what grounds are we going to use the DepEd advice